Welcome to Weapons Education. This is a special video. It's November 2011. In the United States, we have Veterans Day to commemorate the veterans who all served in the military to protect our freedom. I believe in England you have what's called Remembrance Day. And first of all, I want to say thank you to all the military across the United States, across the world, all of our allies. We're all in this together. Now, this caption here on the top of the video, Holocaust, it's probably got your attention. What I decided to do is to speak to some actual Holocaust survivors. It's a very important story. I want the younger generation not to forget what happened in the 1940s. And it just goes to show how evil humans can actually become. It's scary. As tough as a subject that this is, I think it's important that we do not forget it. So I went right to the source. There's a group that meets monthly. I provide them entertainment and things like that to cheer up their meetings and make them happy. Been doing it for about 15 years. So I went this morning and interviewed 3 people. You'll see the interviews that I respect. They might be a little lengthy. And I do apologize for the audio. Because the entertainment was so loud indoors, we were not able to do the interviews indoors. We had to go outside, and then they were mowing lawns, and there was cars coming and going. But do your best to listen closely to what these people, who are all approximately, 2 of them are about 90 years old, one was a little bit younger, as you'll see. And very powerful story. They all contributed to the movie Schindler's List. Steven Spielberg actually stood right at the microphone you're about to see me speak at and spoke to that group and interviewed that exact group to get information for the movie Schindler's List and use their exact stories. And here we go. This is what I'm doing for Veterans Day, to thank everyone in the military and people like this who you've saved their lives, and people like myself who you've saved our freedom. Let's go on and show the respect that they deserve. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom, and we're going to talk about a different subject today. This group has been together for how long now? About 30 years, correct? Meeting here monthly? In different places, of course. And for the last 16 years, you may not realize it, but I'm the person who has been providing you with the free entertainment. I'm proud to have been doing that, and of course I'll continue to do it. And what we're going to do today, do you like the entertainment, by the way? It gives you a reason to get here, and it makes it more fun, right? So we're not going to talk about finance today. We're not going to talk about anything. We're not going to talk about insurance. I want to talk about you. That's why I'm here. This Friday is Veterans Day, and I think it's important that the younger generation know your story as Holocaust survivors, having been through the concentration camps. I have a channel on the internet with a large following, and I've got a couple of volunteers already to do an interview with me on camera in the back room here. This way your families can hear your stories, and the video will go on in infamy, so your story will not be forgotten. And I think all of you have your own very powerful story to tell to the younger generation. And if you wish, I'm asking you to come please join me out back for approximately just 5 minutes for you to tell a brief story about what your experience, unfortunate experience, was during World War II. And that's pretty much why I'm here, is to let the younger generation across the world hear your story. Is there anyone interested in talking? And maybe let your family hear your story? Yes, good. All right, so we'll do that. Thank you, sir. We'll do that, and then we'll put the entertainment on right now. I just want to hear a few of your stories. It's going to be on the internet, on a special channel, and it's going to go to a large amount of people. And you can call up your family and say, please go to this .com and listen to my story. And I'm trying to teach the younger generation not to forget what happened. I know. Spielberg was here and did Schindler's List, correct? A lot of you shared your story. Yes, I'd like you to share the story with me, please. Okay? It's very interesting. Thank you. We're going to go out back now.
All right, this is an interesting video. Sandor Tambor, thank you so much. It's really a privilege for you to tell your story to the world. And this is your time now. We just spoke for a few minutes here prior to making this video. Please zoom in close on Sandor so he can tell his story. You were born in what year?
April 20, 1921, I was born in Hungary. And first of all, I would like to thank you to listen to my story. And my purpose of my story is to learn from my past what happened to me and all the other people, so they should know that hatred is one of the things that one must not allow himself to enter their heart. Hatred is the one thing that blinds the eyes of the people. Once you allow yourself to hate people, you cannot, your judgment is entirely off. You cannot,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you cannot see anything goes. If you hate people, you cannot see right. All the things that's wrong seems to be right, and the more you hate, the worse it gets, and that's what made the Second War, all the hatred that happened in the ghettos for the Jews and all the other peoples who were different than what they are.
Tell us a little bit more. Could you elaborate? Did Mr. Spielberg interview you?
Interviewed me, and he made a complete film from all my whole beginning and all whatever I went through the war.
You were in a concentration camp.
I was in a concentration camp. First, I was in post-labor in Hungary. All the Jews from 20 to 40 first taken to forced labor, and so was I. And when Horthy was who was the leader of Hungary, gave up, and
Okay, well, so what else would you want to share so the younger generation in the world remembers exactly what happened to you? What did exactly happen to you? How did it all start?
When the Germans came in to Hungary, all the Jews were taken to ghettos, and from the ghetto to the brick factory, and from the brick factory, after they were taken in ghetto wagons to Auschwitz. I was very lucky because I was in forced labor, therefore they couldn't take me to Auschwitz. However, when Horthy gave up, they took us from where we were stationed. We walked to Budapest, and from Budapest we walked to the Austrian border. On the Austrian border we were told that we are forced laborers in Hungary, and now we are going to be laborers in Germany, because the German men are all in the front. They need workers. Therefore we will be treated wonderful, very well, just like the Wehrmacht is being taken care of. We know how well they are taken care of. You will have the same treatment. And we took them, and they put us in the regular train, and they gave us over to the SS. Once they put us in the train, they told us we are going to be locked, train, the doors will be locked, and everyone who wants to, who would want to get out will be shot, and we were wondering how come they are threatening us with being shot. We were laborers, and we are taking to work for Germany. Why would anybody wants to escape? There is no reason for it. And after we put us in train, the train was going for maybe a day or two, and we ended up in a concentration camp, although we didn't know it was a concentration camp at that time, because we believed that we are warriors. And once we were there, we saw people, strange people, coming with stripes, and they looked very strange, and we couldn't understand what kind of people they are, because they were so thin and skinny. And after we got to know them, they were telling us stories about Auschwitz. That's when we found out that we are really not being laborers. We are in concentration camp.
How long were you there?
We were there from about October till the end. I was in a camp. My camp was Camp 11. Dachau belonged to the Dachau. Dachau was the main camp, central camp, and they had 13 camps surrounding small camps, and they were. Our camp was just built while we were there.
So, how did it all end?
Well, we were starving, of course, and the food was less and less. We didn't have water to drink. There was no running water in the place. We couldn't wash ourselves. Once in a while, they took us to a bath where we had to take off our clothing, and when we came out of the bath shower, we had to take whatever we can. We couldn't get our own. Whatever there was put out, you had to take, whether it fit you or not. It had to fit. And then we went back to work.
And when were you finally released?
Released in 1945 when the Allied came in. As the Allied started to come closer and closer, they liquidated all those small camps. They burned them, so there shouldn't be any trace that they were there. And the last day I got to Dachau, and the same day or the day after, we got there Saturday morning, and I believe it was Sunday. Two American car came in, small tank came in and freed the camp.
This Friday is Veterans Day in the United States. It's a day that we commemorate the military. What is your feeling towards the military?
We have to thank our life to the American people.
And also the English and all of the Allies.
All the Allies. If they wouldn't have come at that time, I couldn't have lasted another week.
Wow.
I was...
You have the next one.
I could barely walk. I could not walk at all.
What is this?
I couldn't walk 5 steps. If I would make 5 steps, I had to plunge down on the ground because I couldn't walk any further.
Malnutrition. So the true heroes, besides yourself, were the soldiers who liberated.
Many people say you are a hero. I don't believe I'm a hero. I'm just a person who just by luck, lasted through the war. Heroes are the ones who liberated us. We are just simple people lucky to be alive.
Let's leave it at that. Very well spoken. Sandor, it was a privilege. Thank you so much. Thank you.
But what I have said is really not that important. The important thing is to know that those things happen, and to know that a small group of people in Germany started off with a small amount of people, and they could do such a damage for the whole world. And that should be told, that people should know when, or even though there might be a small group of people, they could destroy the whole world, and especially today. At that time, they could not destroy the world, but today you could destroy in minutes the whole world. So we should be strong enough and try to prevent it at the very beginning, when it doesn't get out of hand. And you must know that love is the only thing that has to prevail. Hatred is the worst thing that could ever done to people. This is the worst thing that could do to people. And once you start hating, you hate everybody and you hate the whole world. And this is what's going on today. Because as you see, people kill people just because they are different. I don't want to name nations, people, but if they are willing to kill each other because they are different, then the whole world is different than they are.
Yes.
I hope you understand what I'm referring to.
We do. It was a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When, so all together, I've been under the Germans 4.5 years. And when the Russians came near Riga, the export, we can smell the war, we can hear the war. And we were shipped out to the other west part of Poland, with less people, less women working. In Riga, I came to the conclusion that some politicians were bringing in their hand a little, not a piece of garlic, but a little piece of garlic and or an onion, and these people never got any bruises on their skin. They didn't get any burns, and otherwise from hunger we had our skin and everything else. And we were working fixing cables. A small amount of women were working underground in one of the towers, one of the castle underground. We were only coming out Sunday for a few hours. And we also, then we were in the barracks. But I remember Red Cross, we were laying in mud. All we had is a roof. They were still fixing for us the narrows of a bed. But we were laying in mud, skeletons, and a few guys in gray suits, and we recognized it Red Cross, and they were walking around, they saw us, and they were supposed to say that we are satisfied. And I want to emphasize that no country came to our help. And that's why Israel is so very, very important. Also, our homeland is very important to us. Without that, in the future, anything can happen. So the young generation has to remember, the Jews especially, that we have to support Israel. And the education in schools are also important to teach young people to be more humane, and there shouldn't be no more genocide. And when the Russians or the Americans were coming or the English were coming to rescue us toward the end of the war, the Germans did not leave us. They took us out on a death march.
Oh boy.
All over. We were marching for hours. I saw a mirage. I really did. I saw a town, and there was no town. But I ran away. I and a few of my friends ran away. We hid ourselves in a factory. And when we survived, and for 7 days without food, because we were fighting in Torun over a big bridge, and we were hiding in a factory where they used to make toilet paper. And this is after 7 days, the Polish people brought us hot soup, and when I walked out in January 22nd, 1945, and we walked out, there was the sun and there was white snow. We walked to the house, a house which belonged to the manager, and the house was disarray the way we left our homes. And the first thing what struck me is I saw color, red and blue and yellow. And there was a piano, and there was books, and we were touching things. And when we survived, we all wanted to go to Israel, but after a while we couldn't. And every day we congregated mostly in lodges, where the people used to get registered, and people came from Russia and from the underground. And I want to say that when I came here, I started organizing Holocaust survivors at the Palm Beaches, and after a few years later, I interviewed Holocaust survivors, and I wrote a book. I wrote their stories, and some of them they wrote themselves, and we have a book with poems and stories, and it's in this library, local library, Determination, Courage, and Destiny. And we still start. We go to schools, and a teacher told me that anything what she was telling the children, nothing made such an influence like I was talking about to appreciate families and how important it is for who they vote, because the Germans lost their power, even the good Germans. And the mostly which I blame is the good people that kept quiet. No country came to our help. We need Israel.
Okay, very well spoken.
Thank you.
This Friday is Veterans Day. What is your feeling on the military and what they did during World War II?
Well, if not United States and England,
And the Allies?
Russia, the Allies, if they would not come and rescue us, I wouldn't be sitting here telling you the story. So naturally, we are very obligated to the veterans, and I wish one day there shouldn't be no wars at all.
Very well spoken.
No veterans.
Very well spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
I keep writing stories. They are based on things that I knew, but not everything is about the Holocaust. I like to write.
Wonderful. You're a wonderful storyteller. Welcome, Anita.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. Take a look at the camera and please tell the world your story. Your full name is Anita Koch, correct?
Right.
What year were you born?
I was born in Germany
And what year?
in 1932. And the year after I was born, Hitler was elected Chancellor of Germany. And life got pretty bad. We were in our home, our house, and they formed at that time all the young children from 7 to 14 had to register in an organization called the Hitler Youth. And they were marching up and down our house, and they were calling, you know, racial slurs. We couldn't go out. They threw rocks at us. They kicked us, and we weren't allowed to touch. My parents are. I was about 2 years old, and nobody was allowed to touch them because they were told if they touch one of the Hitler Youth, we'll kill you. And we couldn't get any more food. We came into the stores. Everybody knew us, a small town. And if we wanted to buy food, they started apologizing. We're sorry. If we sell you food, they will kill us. So it got so bad that we moved to Berlin. And there we went again into hiding. We got food stamps, but we could not use them because we had a big J stamped on it for Jew. And if we would go and pick up food, that's how they would get us and take us off to the concentration camps. So we did not use our stamps, but there was an old lady that was hiding us. And she got a little more food. We were 5 people hidden in one room. And she got a little bit more food for us. So, but she kept apologizing. I can't get too much, so they'll say, what are you doing with all that food? So 5 people were just sharing some crumbs, that we would say. And then one day she came in and said, we can't keep you. Why? Because they can't find the Jews are hiding, and they came in the middle of the night and pulled them out of their beds. So my father started crying, 2 small little children, and they said, well, look, what can I do? So my father said, what if we sleep during the day and we go out at night? So he said, well, if they see it, my neighbors see it, they'll report me. So my father, they were on the ground floor, he jumped out the window and he helped my grandmother, my mother, my sister and me out, and we were walking all night. We separated. My mother, my grandmother, my sister went in one direction, my father and I went another, in case they do catch us, that the whole family won't get wiped out. And one day as we were riding the train, a big, not SS, it was one of the Gestapo, came in and he picked me up and he put me on his lap. And my father said he was so terrified that if he would ask me, you know, you celebrate Christmas or something, he would say, no, I'm Jewish. And he held a Jewish child on his lap that he would kill us immediately, take out a gun and shoot us right on the train. And when my father came home, he said, that is it. I can't live here anymore. So he walked the streets and he found somebody that said that there are tickets to get out of Germany, but he doesn't know where. So he went to the committee and they had 10 tickets left to go to Shanghai. And my father bought them and we got out. We did get out, but we hit a terrible typhoon and we couldn't get any more big ship because the Germans went after it and bombed it. So this little merchant marine ship hit a typhoon and we almost sank. But we did make it, and we were 2 weeks late and everybody was crying when the ship came in and they played music. They couldn't believe that we made it. And our greeting in Shanghai was, as we drove to the camps that they put us in, they were from infants to old people lying on the street with diseases, begging. Half of them were dead, half of them were alive. And that's, well, 6 years old. And that was our greeting. We were 7.5 years in 3 different camps under Japanese occupation. The Japanese really weren't bad to us if we followed their orders. If we obeyed them, they left us alone. But the food was very scarce, and 2 years after the war, when I came to the United States, I was 5 feet 7 inches tall and I weighed 99 pounds. But we did survive, and we had a lot of incidences that happened. We were bombed day and night with American bombers. The Japanese built munition camps, airplane parts around our camps, because every time they build it, the Americans would come in and bomb it. So they said they won't hit the camps with the refugees, so they built all these munition things around us. and luckily they only hit a few radio stations, and we had lost 5,000 people. We were 20,000, we lost 5,000 people. The heat was 120 degrees during the day. Anyone that went out between 12 and 3 didn't come back. They got a heat stroke and died. We didn't have water to drink. The water was contaminated. And every time we were thirsty, we were sitting on the floor and we didn't even move. We didn't even dare to breathe because it was so hot that we thought we were going to pass out and no water to drink.
Wow. So how did it all end? How did you get out?
Well, after the war ended, my grandfather, who went for a visit to Israel, and on his way back to Germany, he got an asthma attack. And they had to rush him to the hospital. When he came out of the hospital, he couldn't go back to Germany because his visa expired, and they told him that he was now stateless. Nobody in the world took him in. The only country that would take him was Holland, and that's where he went. Holland saved him until he got papers to go to the United States. And that is why we saved a lot of things which a lot of people don't have. My mother packed a big trunk with our pictures and memories, so we do have some things that we saved, memories that we have right now. And my grandmother went with us to Shanghai, but she could go to America because at that time there was a law. If you have a husband or a wife or children in America, you could join your family. And my mother didn't realize that she could go and join her parents until the war broke out, that the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and that's how we got stuck in Shanghai.
Well, this Friday is Veterans Day. What would you like to say to the military? Anything? What's your feeling towards the U.S. military, our allies across the world?
Well, what I wish to say is I wish there wouldn't be any war, that we didn't need any soldiers. But in case we do, I think they are doing a very great, tremendous job trying to save people that are really in need of saving. And they're really doing a great job, and thank you.
And thank you so much. Very well spoken. Thank you. God bless you.